Hello everyone. Let us talk about projective techniques. As we have already studied, direct techniques like the self-report measure has some major problems, like the people might become self-conscious while performing the test. Also, when we studied psychoanalytical theory, we realized that there are some unconscious motives that cannot be assessed using these direct techniques. Therefore, we use a method of projective techniques to unhide our unconscious motives. Projective techniques helps us to understand the entire personality of an individual. These techniques usually believe that if a less structured or an unstructured stimuli is given to an individual, the individual might project his or her feelings, desires, and needs onto that situation. But these projections must be interpreted by a skilled expert. There are different kinds of projective techniques which use different stimulus, different materials, and they can assess the personality of a person in different situations. Despite the fact these techniques share some common characteristics. Number one is the stimuli that is used by the researcher. The questionnaire or the pictures are usually unstructured and poorly defined. Number two is that the person who is being assessed, the subject as in, is not told about the real purpose and the method of scoring and interpretation in here to avoid making him or her self-conscious. Number three is that the person is informed that there is no correct or incorrect responses. All the answers are gathered by the researcher and are useful. There is no right or wrong answer. As we know that there are various types of personality traits, therefore number 4 says that every response reveals a significant aspect of the personality. And number 5 is that the scoring and interpretation process is very lengthy and sometimes it's subjective also. Projective techniques are different from psychometric tests and the direct techniques in many ways. First of all, the projective techniques cannot be scored in an objective manner, and secondly, it requires skilled researchers for the analysis and for which a rigorous training is a must. The very first projective technique is called the Rorschach ink blot test. This test was developed by Hermann Rorschach. This test actually consists of 10 ink blots. 5 of them are black and white, 2 are red, 3 are of some pastel colors. These blots are symmetrical in design, and let me tell you how. Because originally these blots were made by dropping ink on a piece of paper and then folding the paper in a half, hence the symmetry, and they represent a specific shape or a form. The size of the card is 7 by 10 and each blot is printed in the center of a white cardboard. These cards are usually administered by the researchers in 2 phases. The first is called performance proper, while the second is called inquiry. In the first phase, the subjects are usually shown the card and they are asked that what are they actually seeing. So they just have to describe what they can see. In the second phase of inquiry, they have to give a detailed report of what their response earlier was. So they tell us what, where, how, and on what basis that they have seen or said the particular response. Now let us talk about the second projective technique. It's called the thematic apperception test. It was developed by Morgan and Murray, and this test is a little more structured than the ink blot test. So basically in this test there are 30 black and white picture cards and 1 blank card, and this test is presented to the subject in a variety of combinations. 20 cards are usually appropriate for the subject, although a lesser number of cards have also been used successfully. So we can even use 5 or more cards on a subject. These cards are presented one at a time and the subject is asked to tell a detailed story describing the situation. What is presented in the picture, the subject has to tell what they are thinking. They might tell us the thoughts and the feelings of the characters in the picture or what might happen in the future as well. A standard procedure has also been developed for the scoring of TAT responses. The Indian version, however, of TAT is also available, which was developed by Uma Chaudhary. Now let us come to the third projective technique. It's called Rosenweg's Picture Frustration Study, the PF study. It was of course developed by Rosenweg, and it assesses that how people express their aggression in a frustrating situation. You can also relate it to the frustration aggression hypothesis that we have already done. So this test presents some cartoon-like pictures and a series of situations where one person is either frustrating the another person or is calling for attention, or there is a frustrating condition, and we want to see that how the subject reacts in such a situation. So the subject is supposed to tell that what that frustrated person is going to do next. Basically, the focus of the researcher is on the type of aggression that the subject feels, that is direction of the subject's aggression. So here, a sharp observation has to be done by the researcher to understand that what is the focus of the subject. Is the subject focusing on the frustrating object, or is he trying to protect the frustrated person, or is he or she giving a constructive solution of the problem? This is some of the sample. So this is a sample of Rosenweg's picture frustration study in the form of cartoons. So basically we are trying to understand here that what is the direction of aggression of the subject. Is it towards the environment or towards oneself, or if the subject is trying to evade the situation. The Indian version of this test is developed by Parekh. Now let us talk about a very simple projective technique. It's called the sentence completion test. In this test, there are a number of incomplete sentences given wherein the subject is given the opportunity to reflect their attitude, motivation, and conflicts. This test provides the subjects several opportunities to reveal what they have been hiding unconsciously. So it reveals their underlying unconscious motivations. A sample is given below. Another fairly simple projective technique is called draw a person test. So basically in this test, the subject is asked to draw a person on a sheet of paper, a very simple task. Then the subject is asked to draw a person of the opposite sex on the same sheet of paper. And then the subject has to narrate a story as to what exactly is going on between the two characters. Again, a highly skilled researcher is required to make sharp observation of the drawings that have been drawn by the subject. For example, if a lot of emphasis is given on the neck while drawing, it suggests that the subject is lacking control over the impulses. Disproportionately large head suggests that there might be some brain diseases or preoccupation with the headaches. These interpretations have been drawn after an extensive research over thousands of people. So basically, the analysis of these projective techniques actually helps us to understand the unconscious motives, the deep-rooted conflicts that are residing in an individual, and the emotional complexes that the subject is facing. However, to analyze and interpret the data, it requires a sophisticated skills and specialized training by the researcher. There are often problems associated with the reliability and validity of the scoring and interpretation. This is because subjective analysis is done, or we can also call this qualitative analysis. But the practitioners have found these techniques very useful and important to understand the unconscious motives of an individual. Thank you.